Hello everybody, it's Alex and welcome to another Hypixel Skyblock video. So in this video I will be doing a guide on the different swords in Hypixel Skyblock and what are the best ones to get and why and how to get them. So yeah, if you missed it, I already did a guide on armor. I recommend checking that out. But yeah, there's a couple different swords I want to cover in this video. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, so the first sword I want to cover is the Undead Sword. Now, last time I talked about going to the Armorsmith, this time I'm going to talk about going to the Weaponsmith, because if you go over here, you find this guy called the Weaponsmith. Now here you can buy various different swords for pretty cheap. You can buy the Undead Sword, the End Sword, the Spider Sword, and just a plain old Diamond Sword. Now, the best sword here is not actually Diamond Sword. The best sword here is the Undead Sword. While it does do 5 less damage than the Diamond Sword, almost all the mobs you will be fighting are undead, and it does plus 100% damage to undead mobs. So I don't actually have one of these, so I'm gonna buy one right now. But basically, anytime I hit a undead mob, I do a 60 damage to it, 60 base damage, plus whatever amount of strength I have to the mob. Yeah, and as I mentioned, pretty much all the mobs you're fighting are undead. All the mobs in Graveyard over this way are zombies. Yeah, and then in the Nether Castle, there are Wither Skeletons, which are also undead. Not all the mobs there are undead, and then the Spider's Den, obviously, are not undead. And almost all the mobs in the Deep Caverns that are actually going to give you trouble are undead, meaning that this sword is great. It is a great beginner sword. Basically, it's the first sword you want to get, as it affects most of the monsters you'll be fighting. So let's say you go ahead and do your mining quest, and you reach Gold Collection level 2. So at level 2, you unlock this sword called the Cleaver, which does 40 damage, and it basically has the equivalent of Minecraft 1.9 and above Sweeping Edge. So this does 10 more damage than the Undead Sword, although it does 40 damage. Period. It doesn't do extra damage to undead mobs. But this is a really good sword to get, so I recommend crafting it. Now the question is, which sword do you use? Do you use the Undead Sword or the Cleaver? I actually recommend using both. So I recommend using your Undead Sword as your main sword, since, like I said, most of the mobs you're fighting are undead. But I also recommend carrying around the Cleaver as well, so that when you're fighting spiders or slimes or magma cubes or basically anything that's not undead, you can use the Cleaver to fight them, as it does do more damage. Okay, so now the next step up from these beginner swords is the Ember Rod, and these swords do 80 damage and give plus 35 strength, which is basically you do over 100 damage from this sword, which is way more than the Cleaver or from the Undead Sword. So this is a really good weapon that you're gonna want to get, although it is pretty hard to get. So there are 2 ways you can get this. One, you can simply buy it from the auction house, which might actually be easier to do than the other method. So yeah, you can find them from like anywhere from 100 to 200,000. And you can get them that way, and like I said, they do a ton of damage. And then the other method you can use is actually getting the sword yourself, and that method is actually pretty difficult to do, however. So what you have to do is you have to go all the way through the Graveyard and through the Spider's Den to the Nether Fortress. Okay, so now that I'm at the entrance to the Nether Fortress, what you want to do is go inside, and then you actually want to go downstairs. Okay, so out here you can see all these magma cubes that are jumping around. And then past these are these bigger magma cubes, which actually shoot fireballs. But to get the Ember Rod, what you have to do is you have to go out here and basically avoid the fireballs, and you have to wait. Now, basically what you're waiting for is you're waiting for a giant magma cube to spawn. And this magma cube is the magma boss. It's gonna spawn, and you're gonna know when it's gonna spawn. And once you kill it, it's gonna drop one of the Ember Rods. Now keep in mind that it does take quite a while for it to spawn. and it is very powerful. So like I said, the rod is quite actually hard to get. Now, the final sword of importance that I'm showing you in this video is the Pigment Sword, which is by far the best sword in the game. It does basically 300 damage, plus increases critical chance and critical damage, and has a special ability. This does a whole lot more damage than the Ember Rod, which already does a ton of damage. But to get this sword is, like the Ember Rod, really hard, although not quite in the same way. So to get the sword, you have to unlock level 10 collection of pork chops. And how you get pork chops is you have to go over here to the barn. Okay, so once you're at the barn, you're going to see pigs over here. So you can see pigs spawning. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get a pig minion. So to get a pig minion, you need to unlock pork chops level 1. And you need at least 80 pork chops to craft the minion. So kill some pigs and make sure you have 80 pork chops in your inventory. Once you have that, you can go back to your island and craft a pork chop minion. To do that, you put a wooden sword in the middle of the crafting table and put 8 pork chops around each side of the minion. So yeah, then all you're going to want to do from there is actually just basically keep upgrading the minion and keep getting those pork chops. Every time you collect pork chops from the minion, it adds to your collection. And it's going to be a long grind to get the Pigment Sword, but in the end, it is by far the best sword in the game. Yeah, quickly I want to mention that Diamond Swords basically just are not worth it. Both the Undead Sword and Cleaver are better than Diamond Swords. So I wouldn't recommend getting Diamond Swords at all. So, yeah. So anyway, guys, that is going to pretty much wrap this video. I really hope you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Yeah, I plan on posting some more Skyblock videos in the future, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.